Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Yay. Right.
Finally made it through. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Doing pretty good. How's life out in South London right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think.
Bit-
Can you come a little closer? Your audio keeps kind of cutting out a little bit.
Is this
Yeah.
any better?
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds good. So we're good. Cool.
Yeah, it's warm and it's sunny.
Yeah. Same here. Right here, out here in the
Fine.
Midwest.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time, Jamie and Karen from Palindrones. Wow, this has been something we kind of been working on for a while. So thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate your time.
No,
Well,
thank you.
yeah. Thanks for asking us.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
we're happy to do it, and we're glad that we're finally able to work it out.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's been great. Is there anything you want to promote before we get started? Like, you got any gigs or anything you guys been working on?
Yeah, so our next gig is on Friday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's a London show. We're supporting a great punk band called Tokyo Taboo, and they've got an incredible singer called Dolly who pole dances at the same time as singing, which
Oh
I'm
wow.
not sure how she manages it, but she does. Yeah.
That's a lot of extra work. I don't know if I'd be able to even pull that one off. I saw this one. I think it was a video clip. It was like, again, it was like Backstreet Boys or In Sync, and they were bouncing on a ball while singing, and still held their note, and there was no like, no bounce in their voice or anything. I was like, how in the hell do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think it's a challenge for us because we're known for being quite energetic live, and I do like to kind of have quite big melodies at the same time. So yeah, I have that challenge too, which I haven't got it perfect yet, but I'm getting there.
You're getting there. That's awesome. What can people like expect like when you guys perform live? Like, tell me kind of where you bring the energy. Do you guys kind of have like a lighting rig, or tell me about your sort of like live setup? Like, tell me, kind of give me a rundown on when you guys perform live. Just kind of what do you kind of bring to the stage?
Well, we come from punk, so even though we're electronic, we come from punk. So um, it's kind of natural raw energy that that just comes through both of us.
Yeah, it's passion. Like the performances are passionate at the root.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's more to it depending on the venue.
Sure.
Sometimes we like to use visuals when we can,
Sure.
um, to kind of add to the sort of visual ambience of the experience. But sometimes that's not appropriate. Sometimes it's a smaller venue, and it's just about raw energy. Um, creating a sense of connection between us
That's
on
it.
stage and the audience. It's
That's
kind of
it.
like eye contact with people in the audience, so that we're all part of one sort of unified experience rather than us separate.
Of course.
Exactly. So I when I kind of sing to the audience, I really try to draw them in and feel like, as Jamie said, it's a unified experience. And I want them to feel the highs and lows and the emotions that we're singing about. And that's how we bring it. So I think that works really well in a really small, intimate environment.
Sure.
Yeah, when we've got a big stage and a big audience, then we can feed off the energy of the crowd and work it that way. So I think we really enjoy the variety of different performances we get, the different types of gigs we get.
Yeah.
I think for us, that's what we really enjoy is a challenge of performing to a different audience and seeing how it translates and how they receive us.
That's why we'll play off gigs.
Can you come a little? Sorry, can you come a little closer? The microphone's a little. I don't want to. I don't want. I want to be able to hear you a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just saying that that's why we'll kind of mix up the different kinds of shows that we'll play. We'll play at punk gigs like we're going to do tomorrow. We'll play it like doom metal. Uh,
That's kind of cool.
you know, yeah, we played a doom metal festival a couple of months ago, and it was a
That's
very
kind of
different
wild.
crowd.
Yeah,
But we still, we're able to kind of connect with the audience.
I think they were ready for the little switch up we provided right in the middle of
Yeah,
the lineup, and they were there for the with the energy. So yeah, it really works.
So you're like pretty much comfortable with like, listen, I'll share the stage with anybody, just whether it's doom, it's punk, it's
Yeah.
electronic, it could be a little bit of this, that, and the other. You're just like, listen, I'll accept and welcome pretty much anybody.
Definitely, yeah. I think because we're quite hard to fit in a box, we don't fit in any of those boxes, but
Sure.
the audience still seem to love it. So yeah, I'm grateful for the reception we've had.
Yeah, and even with your albums, you guys will go from one music style to another. I mean, it's all pretty much kind of in that electronic umbrella, but you'll go from drum and bass to ambient to techno or dance or house or any, like you guys just really kind of go, let me kind of bring everything into the album, and that really shows on chapter 2, this the Slender Blade. Tell me about the making of that album and kind of let people know kind of where, with chapter 1 and chapter 2 and kind of what the story is about all that.
I think you can just start that one.
Well, if we're gonna talk about the story,
Mm-hmm.
it's a first contact sort of science fiction
Mm-hmm.
story.
Yeah.
Um, Humankind's first meeting, like a higher being, what humans are going to perceive as a higher being, and what that would do to the human psyche. It's not an original idea. We've all seen, most of us have seen 2001.
Sure.
It's inspired by stories like that, and Annihilation, and The Expanse, and even like the idea, like I think a big part of it is like collective consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So it's the idea that, because you get a story like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers,
Mm-hmm.
as an example, and it's always framed like the idea of collective consciousness is framed as the disillusion of the self.
Yeah.
But it's actually, what if it's not? What if it's not a negative thing? What if finding that universal consciousness where everybody is connected? So we're all one. We're all individuals that are part of a greater whole, and that's ultimately the whole point of it, is that
Yeah.
through the prism of like a sci-fi story,
That's amazing.
through a second prism of electronic goth music.
Yeah, so it's like we have a story that is more a concept rather than thinking we need to sound like a particular genre. We
Sure.
don't. I think we listen to quite a variety of different musics and between us and together. Um, and so I guess I don't know, yeah, we like to challenge ourselves to um, produce different, different. I don't know, because it's not even about.
I mean, does anybody listen to one kind of music?
No, not at all.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, I suppose there's, like you said, there's that through line that it is all essentially electronic music.
Yeah.
But there's like classical elements in
Of
there.
course. No, yeah,
At one
I know
point,
what you mean.
there is even guitars in there. My first instrument was guitar.
That was
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah. So it was almost like the initial approach was to play dance music for rock fans,
Mm-hmm.
made by rock musicians playing dance music.
Yeah.
That was kind of the initial concept, and so that's what makes it difficult to pin down. Um, and you know, and that kind of variety in sound is not for everybody.
It
You know,
confuses some people. Yeah, some people do like quite a narrow set of a narrow taste in music. Some people do have that, and that's fine. But yeah, it's just not us, and we could never be pushed to create that way. I think we'd find that really boring.
I get that, and it's a very like it's incredible albums. Like, I mean, it's very like well done. You really kind of get in the story, lyrically and like audibly. You really just kind of get drawn in very very quickly. It's not a like a tough list. Some albums where it's a concept album or like a story where it's a tough listen. You're going, okay, where's this going? But you really get like sucked into that sort of world, and you keep finding different elements and different things about what's kind of going on, and I really love it. Like I feel like I'm going to keep listening to it to try and take more in, just because I feel like I'm going to find more and more as I listen. And I mean, it's amazing. So thank
Oh,
you. And
thank
that
you.
Thank
just
you.
came
Thank
out
you.
last year. And
Yeah.
again, it's
Yeah.
the second chapter to with Fearful Velocity. And yeah, I mean, amazing. Are you guys working on a chapter 3 right now?
We're always writing.
Okay.
We're always working on new stuff, and that's why chapter two took quite a bit longer because that was all supposed to be chapter one. But we had, yeah, but we kept writing. We had too many songs, so we had chapter two ready. Well, we were working on chapter two, but then we kept writing more songs again, and then so we
We
that
kind
took.
of, yeah, we've got probably enough for a chapter three, but we're trying to decide exactly what the best.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
tricky one. It's like, what's the best way to release music these days?
Sure.
EPs, singles, albums. It is a tricky one, especially as we're constantly writing, and it's like those we're like we're already playing loads of new songs that are not yet recorded
Oh
or
wow,
released at least.
that's cool.
So yeah, we're always like that when we're live because we play live so much,
Hmm.
and we've written new songs that we're excited about. We're straight away playing them live.
Yeah.
And then people are like, where can I listen to that? I'm like,
It's on my
Ah, yeah.
laptop.
Stay tuned.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I get that. And
Um,
was that kind of like an idea that you were kind of holding on to and kind of developing for a while, or did it just kind of come naturally? Because I know sometimes, as artists and musicians, we go, I have this idea, I'm not quite ready to execute it yet. Or did it just kind of come like where it's like it just kind of came in and you're like, all right, here's what I'm going to start doing. Like, tell me about the sort of development and even just you brought up, science fiction and 2001 Space Odyssey. Were you kind of absorbing influences while you were trying to write something like this?
I think, like, I mean, for me, I can't speak for Karen and I won't, but for me, it was more organic where it
Okay.
wasn't necessarily, it didn't necessarily start, it became,
Gotcha.
you know,
Hmm.
it's like the sort of the analogy of the sculpture, is just a piece of rock and then you find the art.
Hmm.
That's for me, that's kind of how it works. And then sometimes, um, and then from that point, it's almost like I know what I'm looking for, but
Yeah.
it's got to reveal itself first, and that's certainly the trajectory that it took for me.
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I think Jamie often he'll start an idea,
Mhm.
and then I will jump in and give my feedback and suggest elements, which might then lead it in another direction. Um, so we constantly bounce backwards and forwards, so it's very collaborative.
Smart. And you guys kind of started this project during COVID. Let's kind of give people pre palindrones. What were you guys doing before that? And you can go as far back as here's where I grew up. Here's what I was listening to. And here's why I picked up an instrument. So if you guys want to do your sort of individual backstory, and you can kind of get as detailed of like here, or you can kind of fast forward. It's totally up to you guys. But yeah, just kind of give everybody a bit of a background, like pre palindrones before the COVID thing, and just kind of let everybody know what you're kind of working on, if you're in any garage bands or just kind of dabbling in electronic music. But yeah, just go ahead and give everybody kind of a backstory.
So I think we both kind of started similar in that we both started learning instruments quite young.
Hmm.
But I kind of very much went down. I was having music lessons in guitar, piano, violin, went to music school where I was in orchestras, classically trained in all of them. But I joined my first band when I was at primary school. At secondary school, I was in a band. At university, I was in a band. Every time I was anywhere, I had to find a band to be in,
Yeah.
doing original music. And as soon as I went to university in a place called Northampton,
Hmm.
which is a couple of hours from London, I think.
Mm.
But I grew up near London, and
Hmm.
I really missed the how creative London was. So for me, I've got to get back to London and find a band to join.
Yeah.
And so then I was in bands the whole time.
What kind of
Briefly in a
what kind of bands were,
Oh
was it
yeah.
like symphonic, or were you like in like garage, but like, me and my friends hanging out jamming in, a basement or whatever? Like tell me kind of, where it all kind of started, the building blocks of your music creativity.
So I think when I started being in bands, writing original music, I mean, 90s was my teens.
Okay.
So, Britpop for me and indie was what really got me into sort of just seeing these bands doing DIY music that made me realize I can do this, I want to do this, I loved it.
Any
So,
ones that stood
like,
out?
sorry, any bands?
Yeah, any bands that stood out that
Yeah.
you went, "Oh my God, this is it. This is what I want to do."
There was a Welsh band called Catatonia that I absolutely loved. And then obviously the bands like Pulp and Garbage and all the UK female vocalists of the indie and
Yeah.
Britpop era
Hmm.
were for me massive influences. And the band called Lush I loved.
Hmm.
And I don't think a lot of these would have made it to the US scene, so you probably wouldn't have heard of them. But Elastica, I know they've had a
Oh
bit of
yeah, yeah, let's go. Oh
there's
yeah,
been
yeah.
a bit of mention in them recently in the press, and
Yep. Hmm.
obviously Blur and bands
Blur,
like
yeah.
that. That was kind of my initial awakening of
That's cool.
wanting to be a performer, I'd
Yeah.
say. Um, and then I'm trying to think where I went. I then went into trip hop. I think that's where I
Mhm.
started to get more electronic.
More chronic, yeah.
Um, so I guess that's still the 90s, and yeah, Prodigy and um, yeah, lots of bands. Yeah, I listen to like so much music.
Oh yeah, me too.
I've never been kept in a box, so
Sure. Yeah.
I always find it difficult to name them because I'm suddenly like, oh,
I know you're
there,
you're
there's
you're going through the list of everything, like, oh shit,
exactly.
well, I almost forgot about that. And
Yeah, and
this,
I'm
yeah,
like,
I
oh
get
no, I forgot that really important one. um, I had yeah, and then I think when I got to London, for me it became about finding something really original and unique.
Sure.
And I'd kind of got bored of the same old indie guitar bands. I was
Mhm.
looking for something different. I joined a duo that were an Anglo-French cabaret punk duo.
Oh wow, yeah,
So that kind of took me in a really different direction. They'd been played by John Peel. They were playing all around London, so I started gigging with them.
that's cool.
Um, and yeah, we there were some of the songs. I was guitarist for them.
Cool.
That finished, and then I started working with that French songwriter as more of an electro pop duo. And some of the songs were in French as well. And yeah, it was great fun. Um, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I could go on forever. But
Please, no, like I
I've done
said,
a
this
lot.
is this is your platform. If you want to dive in and just talk about kind of where,
I
because I
think there's
mean,
a
it's
couple more. Yeah, there's
yeah,
a couple more stepping stones that led me to Palindrones.
yeah,
So, oh, three, I think. I was then in a jazz and swing band.
that's cool. Yeah,
It's completely different, doing
that's okay.
covers from the 20s to 50s
Okay,
with my twin sister, and we were called Twin and Tonic.
that's actually pretty cool. What
Yeah, so
were you still doing guitar?
I was doing vocals, a little
Okay,
bit of
vocals, yeah.
accordion, and we had a backing band, and we play at like vintage themed nights, burlesque shows, and
That's cool.
yeah, and so
That's
I
so
kind of
cool.
got to discover this whole different scene that was really
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
And it took me into the cabaret world, which I'm still part of, and that does slightly come across in some of our performances too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then after that, I had I had children. And then I joined a duo. I became a duo with someone local doing post punk.
Okay.
And then I discovered more of the punk scene in London and joined a punk band called Flesh Tetris,
Oh,
and I
cool.
played keyboards and theremin for them.
You're just all
And
over the
that's
place.
when
I
I,
like that.
yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the band when I met Jamie because we were in the same punk circuit in London
that's
and our
cool.
paths would cross, we play on the same bills and we'd chat. So yeah, that's my history. That's my band history.
Is cabaret pretty big out there? Like we have like an occasional sort of like I'm in the Midwest. I'm in St. Louis. Like
Yeah.
where there's city and then there's a lot of country, and we have
Mhm.
like a goth night at in St. Louis, and sometimes they'll do like sort of burlesque cabaret. Is it pretty big out there? Like
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, it's massive. It is. There's um a lot of different pockets.
sure.
I'm part of a Pan Asian Cabaret Collective because I'm half Chinese. So
Hmm.
um, there's a group of yeah, which is growing, and it's just and they put on fun nights with just a mixture of Pan Asian performers.
I have to look into that. That's cool.
Um, and I've done like creepy twin acts with my sister because we're twins, we're identical twins.
Oh, that's wild.
But I don't have so much time to do cabaret these days.
Sure.
But the one show I'm involved in every month is
Mhm.
called the Double R Club,
That's
and
cool.
it's a Twin Peaks themed cabaret show,
I'm a
which
huge Lynch fan. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's just so creative. It's dark, and every month I'm blown away by the performances, and I just love being part of that.
That's wild.
So yeah.
That's cool. Did not to I mean I'm not trying to shy away from Jamie. We'll get in. Did after having children, did you feel like it kind of boosted your sort of music creativity or songwriting at all? I've always wanted to ask somebody
Um,
like that because I mean I'm a dad. I got three daughters, and it was kind of one of those things where it was like, I spent between work and my family, I spent a lot of time with them and kind of took music kind of on the back burner. But if I had extra time, I'm like,
yeah.
I'll jump right in and start being creative. But then my podcast kind of became my whole hobby and everything, like my creative mode. What was your sort of like after you have kids? Like, did you feel like your mind was like, oh, here's a whole nother life or a whole nother world to explore? Like, kind of tell me about that.
Um, so I think yeah, obviously I'd stopped doing the bands at when they were really small,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd always like play music to them. I always sing to them. My daughter's called Tallulah, so I would sing the Bugsy Malone song to her
That's
all the
cool.
time.
Yeah.
Um, so and I would do bits with bits of music around them,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
like I didn't my friends would say, will you come and do a sing along at my kid's birthday party? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, I'll do some nursery rhymes on the guitar. So that was quite sweet to
Yeah. Yeah.
do.
That's
But I do feel like I did lose an element of the grown-up music I wanted to do,
sure.
and as they got a little bit older, I was getting a bit frustrated. So that's when I found someone local that I started doing
There you
the
go.
post-punk music
That's
with.
cool. Yeah.
Um, but in terms of yeah, I don't know about. It's difficult to know, where would I be if I didn't have the children
Of course.
musically? How would it have developed? What would have been different? I'm not really sure.
Fair enough. Fair
Good
enough.
one to answer. Yeah.
How old are they?
They're just about to turn 14 and 16.
Yeah, see, I got 16, almost, no, 17, 14,
Mm,
and then almost 11. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, yeah. And they're all daughters. They're all daughters. So, yeah, they keep
Oh,
me busy.
okay.
So, yeah. So,
Yeah, we have a daughter and a son.
well, there you go.
So
Man, that's,
one of
well,
each.
good for you. That's so fantastic. Jamie, you can go ahead and jump in and just kind of give me your musical journey.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I started. As I said, my first instrument was guitar.
Hmm.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, my first instrument was guitar, uh, which I started playing when I was 8, I think, and then all through school I played guitar, and then I joined bands when I started playing in bands when I was about 16. I was into metal. I was into bands like Cradle of Filth and Dimmu Borgir,
Yep.
like black metal.
Yep.
And Sepultura were really like when I was about 14, 15. Sepultura were my favorite band, and you see that these kind of elements that still stick in the
Yeah.
songwriting. That this kind of like there's some of the tribal rhythms, drums. I can see a direct through line to songs like Ratamahata by Sepultura. You know, and like that whole the root, particularly the Roots album.
Oh yeah.
Uh, it just just rhythmically, and then and another one that I'd Meshuggah
Mm.
were like a favorite of mine, and probably I think probably the only band that I still listen to that's got guitar in it is Meshuggah, and I just think their guitars are just rhythm instruments as well. It's just the like the the polyrhythms in Meshuggah. Like I could talk about them all day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just find them to be like incredible. You just don't seem to get like every album is better and better.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so I started off into metal, and I think that as with a lot of metal musicians, their introduction into electronic music will be through Trent Reznor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Probably Trent Reznor is my biggest influence.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, just the way that he approaches
Hmm.
sound and the tech and textures. I think that yeah, it's invaluable to my production process of creating sounds. Um, and then yeah, and sort of into adulthood, I played, I taught my. See, my kind of process was different as well because I taught myself.
Yeah,
I
of
had
course.
two guitar. I'd like two guitar lessons when I was about 8, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that was it. I taught
yeah.
myself.
I taught myself drums, so like I totally understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and I taught myself drums as well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I've kind of throughout the years I played guitar in like an emo band.
yeah.
I played drums in a math rock band.
Hmm.
I played bass in like a post punk band.
That's
I played
wild.
guitar in like a blues rock band that sound a bit like ZZ Top. I've played all sorts of different kind of music.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but then the through line was always kind of like from being like 18, the through line was always electronic music, and I just never had I started noodling around with it
Hmm.
about 10 years ago, and the genesis of Palindrones really happened about 10 years ago.
Hmm.
Just it was a bedroom project initially that bloomed into and it was kind of like a, it started as kind of like a post rock band
Hmm.
where it was me and a drummer and a laptop with different singers
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, and then that kind of went by the wayside, but that's where the name for I first used uh, in like 2015,
Hmm.
and then it became literally just a bedroom project.
Yeah,
Like that, the drummer that I was working with moved away,
of course.
and so it just became literally just me messing around on the laptop.
Yeah,
Whilst I was in about 6 bands at one point,
of
six
course.
different bands at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then COVID happened,
Oh yeah.
so gigs stopped. My main source of like activity, which was playing live music,
Hmm.
ended,
Oh
and I'd got all that time to really get into the real processes of mixing and producing electronic music,
yeah.
and just finding out all this stuff. Like looking back, I'm embarrassed at how awful the early electronic music sounds because it never even EQing. I didn't even understand
Yeah, I
EQing.
didn't either. I get
Um,
it. I get it.
yeah, like every interview, I always say, "Don't get me started talking about side chaining."
Yeah.
But this is all stuff that never occurred to me, and it's why it all sounded crap
Yeah.
because like I just didn't know about it. But COVID
Yeah.
allowed the blooming of
It was like
knowledge.
you're learning your training
Yeah,
process where
exactly.
you're
Yeah,
going, now I could sit down and really kind of get
yeah.
into the nuts and bolts of everything.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and so and because of that, and through that, palindromes kind of became my focus. It became my focus because there was no other music to do. And
Yeah.
then at the time, Cameron and I were separated on either side of London, by the
Wow.
entirety of London, which might as well have been a different city,
Yeah.
because London's like London is a big city, and
Massive.
the COVID lockdown meant that we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
like isolated from each other,
Wow.
and so starting to write songs together
Oh,
was a
that's
way
cool.
to stay connected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think we hadn't really considered it before that, and I think Jamie sent me one track and said, "Would you try and write some vocals for this?"
Yeah.
Um, and so I did, and I do remember like the first time he listened to what I'd done, I was really shy about it, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, don't worry if you don't like
Mm.
it.
Yeah, because like the initial idea, like Palindrones, it was kind of instrumental. The stuff that I was writing, the stuff that I'd been writing for like a good few years at that point
Hmm.
was all instrumental.
Hmm.
But then I'd kind of just written this piece that this it was kind of a bit witch house.
Oh,
So
that's cool. Yeah.
it was very bass
Mm,
heavy,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and there was space there for for a vocal melody, whereas all the
Yeah.
other stuff I was writing, it was very intricate, all these intricate layers of melody, so there were no space for vocals. But and then this one, I was like, oh well, there's room for it if
Yeah.
I don't do anything else,
Right. Sure.
and so I sent it through, and it became the song Sectio Aurea,
Wow. Yeah.
which was the first. I think it's the first video that we released together, and it's from our first EP, which came out in 2021, which is
Okay.
called The Lighthouse.
Yeah. The lighthouse. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's from that. But we kind of we released it on a video of it on YouTube like about a year before that. It was
Yeah.
the first song that we did together, and
mm.
it was like Palindrones featuring Karen Bell.
Oh
Um,
wow. Okay.
that's what the tagline.
Yeah, because we didn't even know what
Yeah,
palindromes would become at that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
That's
And then
cool.
it was like, hang on a minute, like why, like, yeah, that got edited pretty quickly to just palindromes, and Karen is actually part of it.
Part of
Yeah.
it now. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's amazing. And what was your because I'm such a big gearhead. What were you kind of like dabbling in? Is there any digital audio workshops? Are you just do everything on the laptop? Do you include, synthesizers or anything? Kind of tell me about your sort of, the geekiness of working on instrumental music and everything like that.
So production wise, it's all produced on FL Studio.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. That's the one that I learned on, and I'll die on that hill. I kind of hear the sort of the workflow of it is really different on every other. Like everybody that uses a different software, like, "Oh, I can't use FL Studio. It's like weird. It doesn't do what I expect it to do. But for me, it's perfect.
That's what it
And
should be about. Where it's whatever you're, because I'm Reason. I'm a Reason person.
oh
Growing
yeah,
up
yeah,
Reason, that was like I got my fingers in that, and that made sense to me. So I just been sticking with that no matter what. So I get that.
yeah. Whatever makes sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, the workflow. I've not have anything to compare it to. The
Hmm.
workflow is fine for me. And yeah, so FL Studio is the work like to kind of experiment with sounds as much as possible, even if it's just, like even if it's presets. You know what I mean? I'm not snooty about it.
Yeah, me neither.
But another thing that I like to do is to a lot of it is experimenting with reverb.
Hmm.
Valhalla Supermassive, like Valhalla Supermassive is on everything.
Yeah.
Since I found it,
Hmm.
it's on everything. Might sound like a synthesizer
Yeah.
is actually just a synthesizer with all the return
Uh-huh.
of Valhalla
Yep.
just turned up to 100% and none of the actual sound. And then I'll chop that up and make that into a synth,
That's cool.
essentially,
Yeah.
like its own synth. So it's just a synth made out of reverb.
Yeah,
That's
or it'll
cool.
take like a bit of a vocal that I've done and chop a section of that and use that
Yeah,
and
like time stretch it and then turn that into the root note and then make chords. And it's all Karen's voice just made into a synthesizer.
mm.
Wow. That's awesome. I've never heard that. That's so cool. I love that. That's such a neat approach on just going, okay, just kind of getting into the little things about just going, okay, I just need this thing and then I'm going to create a whole array of notes with that one. That's so cool. I love that. And you said Trent Reznor was kind of your kind of because I've always been like, I've done bands where I've performed original songs. I was in a YouTube cover band just to kind of get some extra time in and some money and play drums for that. And but electronic was always the heart. Like that was my and Trent Reznor and Prodigy and everything like that was very much the base of that. And what was did you kind of just grow from a little bit of everything, including his sort of like soundtrack work and everything? Or any albums that stand out above the others where you go, I'll come back to this one just to kind of keep absorbing its inspiration?
It's Downward Spiral or The
Okay.
Fragile.
Okay.
It's like early. I do like. I really like the Social Networks
Yeah.
score that he's done. As well. I think Mr. Self Destruct
Yes.
is just perfect, and a Warm Place as well. I think a Warm Place from Downward Spiral is really, because every now and again, like I'll go back and I'll listen to and Lemire as well. I don't know if I'm
Mm,
pronouncing that right.
yeah.
From the Fragile. Every now and again, I'll go back. I, d- I don't really religiously listen to Nine Inch Nails
Yeah,
anymore,
I don't.
but
Yeah.
every now and again, I'll go back
Yeah.
and
That's
I'm
how I.
reminded of how important Trent Reznor is to my process.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, wow, like how much of what it's like I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh,
think
I
I've
do
been
that too.
original, but like nah, Trent did it like 30 years ago.
Yeah. See, I've done that where it's like I'll it's always kind of been the bass where and then I'll go with other electronic, artists and even just like sort of like I say a Tomito or just sort of the new age sort of early electronic stuff Wendy Carlos and I'll kind of go into that.
Mm,
But it's always kind of come back and I just go, God, I forgot. It's like it's I guess if you could kind of call it like Trent's like the safety blanket. You know what I mean? Where you kind of keep finding drawing comfort and inspiration from something like that. And I think it was I was a huge fan of like With Teeth, but Year Zero just brought something out for me where I just went because he started getting a little bit more grittier with like analog. I can't afford
mm,
analog, but I was kind of dabbling in sort of these the VSTs and shit like that. And I was kind of getting
yeah.
into that. And I was just like, it just really, and it even reminded me a lot of, I know this guy's kind of a topic to bring up, whether it's positive or negative, but Alec Empire's music with Atari Teenage Riot was always an inspiration for me. However you feel about his political stances is one thing or another, but musically with digital hardcore music it was just like oh shit there's this sort of electronic and punk to it like it just I was
Mm,
so drawn to that and it really he brought a lot of that digital hardcore elements with Year Zero which was like holy shit it was amazing so I can geek
yeah,
out about Trent Reznor
yeah, yeah, yeah. I enjoy a bit crunched, breakbeat.
yeah oh yeah
Like, definitely. So
yeah
that the digital hardcore sound, like, yeah, I can appreciate what
for
you're talking
sure.
about. That.
And I like that you guys kind of incorporate like drum and bass. Like I've always being a drummer, like drum and bass is always if I got a good beat, like I'm so drawn into it. So hearing you guys kind of include this, drum and bass to a lot of these dark elements and these sort of because you'll be all over. You got some industrial, you got some dark wave, some dreamcore shit like that, and you kind of bring it in. But my ears perk up when I would hear like a drum and bass, and I'm going, hey, like I just love hearing those little things like that. I think that's so cool. So yeah, that's amazing.
Thank
Um,
you.
what let me see. What is the music scene like out there in London? Are they just kind of all over the place? Is there like a sort of like electronic scene still? Is there a kind of like a goth scene out there? Because again, I'm out here in the Midwest. Tell me kind of like how the music scene is out there, and I know you guys are in South London, and London's a big fucking place, but just kind of tell me about like where the music scene is at out there. I'm always interested because I've talked to people out in Italy and they're like, "There's no music scene out here in Italy. There's nothing but people are playing cover bands and shit like that." I was like, Jesus. So I just like to hear what's going on. So what's been going on out there musically.
Yeah, London, there is a scene. So
Yeah.
we live in a town called Bromley,
Hmm.
which originally had an amazing scene. It's known for a group of musicians called the Bromley Contingent, which had David Bowie,
Hmm.
Susie Sue. Yeah, I can't name the others off the top of my head right now.
Hmm.
But now Bromley itself is just covers bands. We've
Wow.
tried, but
Damn.
London is
Hmm.
great.
Good. That's
Um,
Like and any night you could, look at find
yeah,
anything that you want,
that's
whether
cool.
it be a goth night, whether it be a punk night,
Yeah.
like in any part. It's like I'm constantly surprised. Like, oh, there's a goth night in Peckham, or or like there's a goth,
yeah.
there's a punk nights just like turning up like anywhere, like just all over the city. There's no, it's not like the famous place where stuff like this that happens is Camden, but
Wow.
it's like, and those things happen in Camden,
Yeah, yeah,
but not just Camden. Camden. It's like all over London.
Yeah.
that's cool.
From north to south to east to west. There is something for everybody every night.
Yeah. So I think there are really strong communities within the punk scene, which is how we met.
Mhm.
And I think that kind of really helped us make a start, was having those connections, even though we're not punk.
Sure.
Our punk pals and promoter friends were like, come play. We did our first gig on like a punk night. Um, and yeah, also the goth scene has got a really strong community that spreads all the way across the UK. And it's like, as we've played more and more in that goth scene, and been really embraced in that scene, we've made loads of great new friends, who it's been lovely.
That's
um and then yeah, because we kind of fit across all these scenes and the electronic scene,
yeah.
um I think we played more of the electronic scene up north rather than London,
Okay.
I'd say. I haven't I think it's growing in London, but
Yeah.
in terms of the live electronic scene,
Hmm.
um, I think that's been quite slow for us to find a kind of a family.
Yeah.
But I think it's building. Yeah.
Is it like a very like DJ? Like, are they still kind of doing these sort of like DJ driven electronic nights, or there's a little bit more live electric? Because I mean, for a while there
Yeah.
out here, if you couldn't get at a venue unless you were a DJ, like pulling out a synthesizer and some backing tracks or a drum machine, they were just like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what are you doing?" Like, you got to be a band to do that, and or you got to have a drummer and this and that. Like, that's the only way. And but now it's like I'm starting to see more artists, especially through my podcast, where they're going, you know, a one man band that can pull out, synthesizers and drum machines and even have a drum set playing. And, it's just like, wow, like it's growing. Is there anything like that out there where it's like it was like a DJ driven, but now they're starting to kind of accept more live electronics?
I think the one thing that is the electronic music open night, the EMOM nights that you
Hmm.
get. I feel like you get them all over the world, but you certainly get them all over,
UK.
in like yeah, over like all of the UK, and
Okay.
they seem. I feel like they're all loosely affiliated as well,
Okay.
so it's like a movement.
So, but
Yeah.
that's a new thing.
Yeah, which is
I
relatively
wouldn't
new.
say that like the sort of DJ driven nights have moved across to live. It's still really separate. So that whole scene of DJs and like raves and clubs, it's
Hmm.
that they don't really go. They don't seem to cross over to live music that I'm aware of. But I would say separately, the live electronic scene is what's been growing.
Hmm.
Um, and like we play this great electronic festival called Cable Festival
Hmm.
up north.
Hmm.
Um,
Midlands, they wouldn't like to be called up
oh
now.
yeah, sorry, guys, it's Midlands. It's not
Technicalities, no. I get
to
it.
me it's up north.
Yeah, yeah.
um, yeah. Uh, but it's such a lovely festival. It's so experimental. That's such a variety. It's really inspiring and just a really lovely, friendly event. So there's lots more stuff like that starting to pop up.
You guys been
Yeah.
doing a lot of like festival runs too. Tell me ones that kind of step out above the others. Is there one where you're going, fuck, that was a great lineup, everything was just right on key. Is there one that, stands out the most out of all the other festivals that because you guys been Dark Fest and, you know, uh, uh,
Yeah.
was it Goth in the Park or Field of, something like that? Like, tell
Gotham
me.
Field.
Gossamer
Yeah,
Field,
that's
that's
it.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for us, it's more about the actual the whole event and the people is what makes it for us.
Yeah.
Um, rather than necessarily the lineup and all the other bands, which are great. But
Yeah.
I think for us, it's the whole
Yeah.
experience.
Sure.
That's why we love doing music and like traveling the country with it. Um,
Yeah, like I wouldn't like don't think I'd be able to pick a favorite
Sure.
because it. it's all about building community and connecting with people, and each one, each event that we've performed that has got something
Different, yeah.
like different and valid to offer. And we've played bigger shows, we've played smaller shows,
Yeah.
and I don't prefer one or the other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Uh,
Makes sense.
yeah, so I don't think I could put my finger on one that really stands out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, I'll give some examples. Like, obviously, we did Resistance last year, which is obviously a massive festival in the UK, and that was magical to be on that stage with an amazing audience. The atmosphere was electric. Yeah, that was great. But we also did this little community festival up what was it? What Standwell it was called,
mm,
and we were in this not enormous tent,
Mhm.
but it just was packed full, and everyone was buzzing, everyone was dancing. Um, Not many people then knew us,
Oh,
but
sure.
they loved it and they embraced it, and it was so much fun, just like the energy in that little tent.
Yep.
So
yeah, and then another one we did was a fairy themed festival in
I
Wales.
read
yeah,
about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we only played a short set, but just standing on stage and looking out and seeing the sunset over just rolling
yeah,
valleys.
well, yeah, it was beautiful. It
Yeah,
was so beautiful. Yeah, yeah,
whilst we're playing a song about the goddess of the sun, Sulis Minerva,
yeah,
and seeing the sunset, just this vast valley
yeah.
which goes on for miles, and you can't even see a town for miles. City.
And there
That's
was
Um,
an audience of different ages, dressed as fairies, just
sure.
floating about in front of
yeah,
us. It was lovely.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
and as I say, like each experience is as valid as the other.
That's so
Yeah, so
cool.
we're
And
doing that again. We're
important.
going to do that again this year because we enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that one that really just like, because I always ask, like, is there, whether it's a positive or a negative experience performing live, does that one seem to be like, that was like one of those awe inspiring performances that really topped all the other ones?
I don't know if I would say that, but I think it
Okay.
was it was more a case of we're so lucky that we get to play somewhere like this.
Yeah.
And like the next morning we went, we camped, and then the next morning we went and at like 9:30 in the morning, it was this beautiful sunny day, and we climbed a mountain uh, to visit a medieval castle
Damn.
that was just on top of this mountain, essentially, like right next to the town.
Yeah.
Uh, and so that whole experience of that weekend was really beautiful.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the set got unfortunately, but even that, it's like in retrospect, that doesn't matter because
Mm.
we still got to be kind of like um, part of part of something beautiful in
Yeah.
a beautiful sunny place. What's to be mad about?
Yeah, and it's like for me because that was like a very family orientated festival. So I had these little girls coming up wanting their photo with me, which as a mother and I love children, I was just like, yeah, of course I love and that made me really happy.
That's that's so cool. And have you guys kept everything just in the UK, or have you traveled to Europe or any other?
Up to now,
We're in talks.
yeah.
We're
Okay,
in talks.
so everything's just kind of
Yeah. Next year we're
Yeah.
hoping
okay. Cool.
to get some in Europe. So
That's
yeah.
cool. Are you excited? Because usually, I mean, everybody that I've talked to that go, if especially here in the U.S., I mean, things are like, it's tough because you're going, am I going to get paid for my show? In the UK and in Europe, everyone's saying like, they'll accept you, they'll embrace you, they'll house you, they'll feed you, they'll pay you, they'll give you a drink or two. Like they really just kind of accept you, if you're a touring artist. Out here it's just like, so yeah.
UK I
Okay.
don't think is that dissimilar to the US, but I
Okay.
think the rest of Europe is
Okay, fair
is
enough.
better.
But we've been lucky that we've worked with some really good promoters
That's
in
true.
in, in,
Yeah,
in the UK.
Okay.
yeah,
Well, yeah, we've it's like we found we found the how we found a handful of like really supportive promoters
Good.
that we're happy to continue working with as
Mm.
well, because of that, that treat musicians with respect.
Yeah.
And it is, unfortunately, in the UK,
Hmm.
it's unfortunate for that to be notable.
I know.
But we're lucky that
That's true.
we found them.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
Yeah, there were we there's some great promoters in the UK. Yeah, definitely.
Good,
Um,
good, good. Yeah, that's great to get those connections in, and not just that, but I feel like you guys are really because you guys will put out a song and then you'll have like a remix. Are these like artists that you've known for a while, or are you just kind of connecting with them along the way? The ones that will like
mixture.
remix your songs and stuff like that.
I think it's a mixture.
Mm,
Sometimes it's people that we've known for a while and collaborated with, or done gigs with before and stuff like that. Or it is sometimes, it's literally people reaching out to us
yeah.
to do that, and that's
So
how we
yeah,
meet.
they
And
want
that's
to.
how we meet. In they've reached out to us asking to remix one of our tracks,
That's
or like vice versa.
Mm.
yeah.
Um, so, yeah, there's no one way.
Wow. That's awesome. Tell me about the first, like, I always like asking about that sort of first gig where, you guys are kind of working on this project, you're kind of building it and everything like that. Tell me about that first palindrome gig where it's like, it's you, it's Jamie, it's Karen, it's both of you just up on stage and going, okay, here's our performance, here's our art. Tell me about, were you nervous? Were you
Yeah.
excited? A little bit of both. Kind of tell me about that first gig where you just kind of went, all right, here you go.
Yeah, we were I was very nervous.
Mhm.
We tried to do too much. Our setup was too complicated. Um, I was so static, and I looked back at it and I like barely moved, and I was just like, yeah, but it was still great. It was a great start. Yeah, our friend got us a good slot, and friends came, and um yeah, it was a good start, but yeah, it was very different to where we are now.
Mm.
Yeah, how do you feel about it?
No, yeah, I kind of feel the same. I think, we were still learning about what we wanted palindromes to be.
And how to do electronic live, we were
Yeah,
learning that
yeah,
Mhm.
because we'd come from punk, even though I'd come from synths and theremin, which yeah, I was still trying to do as well as sing. Like yeah,
yeah. I think I used to take live bass to the gigs.
as well as the keyboards.
Yeah, as well as the keyboard, drums and pad,
Mhm.
and it just impossible to type. And it's like, you spend so much time on stage when the more stuff you've got, the more stuff there is to go wrong, the more stuff you're thinking about, and you're not necessarily performing. And the people in the audience, it's only the people in the audience don't care. Like, they just want it to sound good,
Yeah,
and
they
they
just
want
want
it
to
to
be
look
there.
like you're enjoying it.
Mhm.
And I didn't necessarily look like I was enjoying it because I was worrying, like, what's going to go wrong? I need to go and get the things. I need to
Yeah,
make sure that, like, this preset is. I need to turn this knob, and like,
Yep.
so the whole setup's been stripped down
yeah, we've
massively now.
simplified it
Yeah.
so we can put more into actually performing.
Yeah, the theatrics of a live performance, so that people have actually got, like, rather than just
Yeah,
me looking at
actually, yeah,
things.
communicate with the
Yeah.
audience about,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
That's cool. And tell me about the sort of the progression of palindrones about, just even the first EP, The Lighthouse. Do you feel like you're kind of finding your relationship with not just music and everything like that, but how your songwriting process, like, do you feel like you're kind of developing and working, like, kind of like working this muscle, with the songwriting process and making music and kind of exploring other boundaries? Is that what you feel like, from the start of palindrones and going, holy shit, we've totally just like, oh, it's like the universe expanding? Do you feel like that's kind of how it started, where it's like this thing and then it just kind of went boom, and just you're exploring all these different genres and styles, and not, and even just the songwriting process, sitting down and working out lyrics and stuff like that? Tell me kind of what your thoughts on that from the beginning to where it's at now.
I would, yeah, I think it feels. a lot more natural. I feel a bit like we can do anything we want. Um, there are no restrictions. Um, I'll just be like, can we just can we do something a bit like this? And you'll just be like, yeah, sure. And um, yeah, it's just, I mean, for us, the battle is always about juggling family time, stuff like
Of
that.
course.
That's
Yeah.
always
The
the bit
normal.
that's making it like there's constantly a balance of like, I feel like we could do so much and go so far, but then
I've got to go to work.
yeah,
Yeah.
got to get the kids to school,
Yep.
got to make sure they go to school.
Yep.
um, um, so it is a constant. There is juggling that whilst there is the whole. Yeah, I'd love to see how far we can go,
Yeah.
and I feel really optimistic about where we could take it, but then reality hits.
No, it's okay. And I mean, that's pretty normal. What do you usually do when it's like inspiration hits? Are you write a note about it? I'm a notebook carrier. Do you go to the phone? Like, kind of tell me where, when you got an idea and you're kind of developing it, do you just kind of take a note and then you're like, okay, I'll come back to this later? Kind of like, what's your moments of inspiration when it hits, and the sort of process on how you kind of develop it?
I mean, for me, like, it'll be almost before I even like open the workstation or like touch a synth or like touch an instrument. I've kind of written it in my head.
Okay.
Um, I think I think in circles,
Mm-hmm.
um, and which is it's almost part of what the logo. And it's inspired. The way that I think is in like the logo is inspired by the way that I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it spirals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So because of that, like I'll have the idea when I'm on my way to work,
Mm-hmm.
and then by the time I finish work and I'm on my way home, the
Mm-hmm.
idea is complete,
That's
and then
cool.
it's kind of a matter of then translating it uh, into like a physical or a virtual physical entity, if we're talking about FL Studio or whatever, and then and then and then we bounce it back and forth between us.
Yeah.
So it like there's no one person that is the composer in
Of
time.
course.
Like, there's no song that is composed solely by me or Karen.
Mm-hmm.
But
Um,
I think that Jamie, he's the one that comes up with the initial ideas, and often he'll have that idea, and then he will then start working with it on the laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst, because I'm a graphic designer is my main job,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I'm sat at the desk at the other end of the room
Mm-hmm.
working away
There
whilst
you go.
I can hear him working on stuff. So often whilst he's doing that, I've already got like melodies forming in my head to go with what he's working on. So yeah, so that's why I say we're constantly working on ideas that way. Um,
and it's
yeah.
kind of like part of the. It's part of my like for me, it's part of my winding down process
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
well. Like music is a therapeutic
Mm-hmm.
process for me. I'm sure it is for lots of people,
Yeah.
and so which is why um, oftentimes it's the thing that I do to wind down after work.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I'll get hypnotized by it,
Yep.
and which is why it's then it that we're able to compose that way
Mm-hmm.
because it becomes just part of the sort of environment that we're in. You
Yeah,
know, I
that makes sense.
plug the laptop into the speakers, and then that's kind of what we're both doing.
Right.
Um, like yeah,
That's cool. That's good. Yeah. No, I think it totally makes a lot of sense. And it's one of those things where, for me, when I kind of get inspired by something, I'm always kind of writing it down, or kind of, I work a factory job. So a lot of my stuff, it's funny, it's very cold and industrial. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
kind of get inspired by
yeah,
that a lot. And, I've kind of go, okay, what's going on around me, what am I feeling? It's hard for me to like write songs. I've never been like a songwriter. It's always been, instrumental and shit like that. So I mean, that's one thing where it's like I've always been the I'll write a song idea down and I'm just like too corny. You know what I mean? Like I've always felt that way and so I can see where it's like, you're kind of coming up and you're like, can you please kind of write a song for me or kind of help like write lyrics for this? Because I'm not very good at it. Like I've always been that kind of person where it's like, ugh, I'm just not good at this. But I'm great when it comes to, working on music and, shit like that. So has there always been like an idea or like a project idea that you've been dying to do and it's just if it has something to do with time or money, what do you have something like that where you've got this big grandiose idea and you just kind of got to put on the back burner for when I'm ready? Do you have anything like that?
I think some of the music video ideas.
That yeah. So because we do them all ourselves as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have a lot of different ideas of music videos we want to do, and um, so I think yeah, because I think our music and the visual and we both love film,
Oh yeah.
so I think that it's not just the secondary part of
Mhm.
having a music video to us is not secondary. It's like it is part of of the whole creation of Palindrones. So
Yeah, it's like the
um,
music and the story and the
yeah,
visuals.
Yeah.
It's all one, and they don't exist without the other.
yeah, and I think as the software and tools we have are developing and giving us way more skills,
Yeah.
and like just to be able to do green screen at home,
Hmm.
stuff like that, I think that's given us so much more scope to be creative with the video side of it. But also, me being in the cabaret world, I've got loads of performer friends who we're like, oh, let's get them to be part of a video. It's
Yeah.
like I've got a friend who's an amazing monster performer, and so we've been chatting to him about an idea that we've got.
I think that
Um,
that's the one that really sticks in my mind. The idea for that yeah, to work with that artist, that performance artist. But it's almost like it's quite a big big production idea. So I don't like it's whether we will actually be able to achieve the original vision.
Hmm.
But then
I will.
we will be able to achieve a version of it,
Yeah.
a version of it, and that version and it's working. Sorry, I'm looking at the camera.
Oh, you're good.
That those limitations inspire creativity. So we
Yeah.
don't we're working on literally zero
Yeah.
budget,
Hmm.
like a video like Nandiathan, which came out in 2024, I think. The video for that, is all filmed in our living room.
Wow.
But through with green screen, we
Yeah.
could be, we're on an Arctic tundra,
Yeah.
and like those it inspires creativity. So like, and even though the birthing process of that,
Hmm.
um, when you kind of come into terms with those the realities of the restrictions that you've got,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's hard.
Oh yeah.
I'm always happy with the result.
Yeah, so it's like we did what we could. I was working on a not very powerful machine,
Hmm.
You kept
struggling.
crashing.
I couldn't,
Yeah,
like, the preview wasn't working,
yeah,
and and it got to the point where I'm like, this is just gonna have to be it for now. So it's like I have now upgraded to a better machine, so I'm just like, now what can I do? And I kind of want to go back and fix the bits that I'm not
Sure.
happy with, but we need to move forward. So yeah, it's whilst we've got great tools, there's still, it's not what
Yeah.
some amazing studios got. And where I'm self-taught with this side of things too. So the same with Jamie and the music production. It's
mm.
we're learning as we go along.
Yeah.
um,
Have you thought about like expanding, the album's concept into, like a book or like, a graphic novel or something? Like, have you had this sort of like, if we could take this and put it like, like visually develop it into, I mean, movies, that's shit. Like a graphic novel or just even just like write a whole story, based on your albums. Have you thought about taking it to that or you just like, let's just kind of leave it where it's at?
No, I am.
Okay.
Actually, I'm in the
Definitely,
process
yeah.
of writing necessarily the same story that the album is,
Hmm.
but it's based on. It was inspired by some of the themes that were brought up
Yeah.
on the album that is then blue. Because like the story itself grew and took on different meanings as it was as we were doing it. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's like sometimes meaning reveals itself, and I think something means one thing, but then I realize when it all comes together, this actually means something completely different, or there's like new layers to it
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
through the act of the act of creating it.
Hmm.
And so I think that the short story, whether I'll ever finish it,
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought of, I started it a couple of months ago, and I thought of the ending, I thought of the ending to the story on Tuesday.
Hmm.
Whether I'll ever get to that ending, or while I'm doing it, it'll turn into something else, or
Yeah.
it might even end up turning into just a blueprint for the next project, and nobody will ever read the story,
Yeah.
but it will become something else.
I think a graphic novel idea is quite a
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
idea, or make it visual,
I
really visual.
wanted so with Sul Nandiathan with that music video, I wanted to do like a picture book,
Oh
like
wow.
a storybook using some of the stills from the video
Yeah.
because it comes with a story.
Ah.
It's more like I guess it's more like a poem than a story
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that comes throughout the video. Um, it um, it's sort of like in a silent, like in the video. I don't know whether you've seen it, but
Yeah.
it's like a silent film
Hmm.
where
Yeah.
um, the captions come up telling the story like
Yeah. It's
every
like the
few
classic,
yeah
where you got the captions and the
yeah yeah
yeah.
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 and that's what the music video is telling the story. And then I had the idea, big like a big picture book, like a kid's picture book
Yeah.
that
Kids
tells a
picture book. Yeah.
story.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I've had that idea, but
That's
again it's budget.
wow. Yeah, I know.
Like,
Budget's such. Yeah, it sucks because it's just like you try to find someone. You're like, okay, I need your help with this project. I'm not good at like doing the drawings or whatever. And it's just like, but I need you to stay with me and hold on to this project because I'm really excited about it. And it's just like
Mm.
mm,
and then even just money wise, and you're just like, I got this. I want to get this done. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're quite fortunate that we can do so much of it ourselves.
mm-hmm.
I did an art degree, so
Cool.
all of our album artwork I do.
That's cool.
Um, and the same with the videos, and then
Mm-hmm.
all of our like promo and reels. It's
Yeah.
really easy for us to do, and Jamie's great with that too.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Um,
we're lucky that we're able to be as prolific as we are because of the fact that it's completely
Self-sufficient.
Yeah.
self-sufficient. Yeah, we don't have to go into a studio. It's a home studio. Everything's recorded at home. All the as Karen does all the artwork. Like everything is self-contained. So we're really fortunate that and that's the magic of electronic music. We don't have to go into a recording studio. We could if we wanted to do it that way,
Mm.
but we can just do it all at home. We can you know make a project from start to finish and never leave our living room.
Yeah. And I think that that's a great, especially right now where you don't have to deal with, if you work on something with a label or a record company where they might get their fingers in it. And I hear about that a lot where, they'll,
Yeah.
they'll take your idea and go, well, I don't know if people are going to grab onto that. So why don't you, and you're going, no, I want to have absolute creative control over my entire project. I think that's very, very smart.
Yeah, I think we would struggle to work with anyone that tried to guide us, wouldn't we?
Mm.
I don't think it would work for us.
No,
Yeah.
because I think first and foremost, like you know, palindromes is palindromes it is a way for me and Karen to communicate first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. Of
Because that's like the whole thing is about communication.
course.
But first and foremost, it's me and Karen communicating, and then me and Karen taking that communication and communicating it to everybody else.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
somebody else coming in and sticking their oar in is like, what are you? It's like
Yeah. But
they don't have any frame of reference because it's
no.
such a personal piece of communication between me and
But
Karen.
also that's not why we do it. It's not about appealing to the masses. It's not about creating something that everybody's gonna like. It's creating what comes from us, and if
Yeah.
people like it, that's a bonus.
Is that why you guys have the two become the many become the one is kind of your core philosophy for this project?
Precisely.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, definitely.
that's cool.
Um,
Smart. And you guys been doing an amazing job, like musically. I mean, you guys are really, expanding, and I'd love to see so much more. And if things are better in the future, especially between the UK or the US, and you guys are able to come out here and do some shows, I would love to see. And especially there's like some pretty good, goth festivals or electronic festivals, like Dark Forest Fest is
yeah,
a pretty solid one. Would be great for you guys to be up on the lineup. That would be so cool to see you guys for sure.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great, yeah, bands from the US that we really like, and it's been great when they've come over here and asked us to support some of their tours as
Hmm.
well. So we've got Blacklight coming up,
Amazing.
Vasm as well.
Yep,
Um, so yeah, that's always that's been fun.
that's cool.
Um, yeah.
We'd love to US, but probably not right now.
Mhm. Um, One last question. I'll let you guys go. I really appreciate your guys' time. Where do you hope to see Palindrones in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, what kind of ideas? What kind of, where? What's your sort of big grand goal for the future for Palindrones?
Ooh, that's a really difficult question
Hmm.
because we're constantly uh, yeah, we're not sure. I think personally for me, playing Europe
Yeah.
is
Hmm.
the big one that I want to tick.
Mm.
Sure.
And see where Europe can take us.
Hmm.
Um, and I just like to play more fun festivals, I think. Um,
I think that you make plans in terms of. I mean, I do make plans. Everybody makes
Sure.
plans,
Got a little
but I
idea or
accept.
whatever. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, but I accept that like whatever I think might be what happens is not going to be what happens.
Sure.
I think but whatever does happen, I know that palindromes will exist, and whatever version of
that's it.
palindromes
Yeah,
Perfect.
exists will be the right version for the time that it's in.
exactly. And it's like, well, we were discussing how we were struggling to juggle things and potentially having to work more, which would mean less time for
Mhm.
music.
Yeah.
But then we're like, okay, so we can't perform as much. We'll find a different outlet for the music for the time being, whether it's more just recording and doing more videos. We'll find a way to make it work. And ultimately, I'm just so grateful for where we are and what we're doing with palindromes right now or at any given time that we can actually do this.
Yep.
To me
Yeah.
is enough.
And I think
And
it's
like yeah,
no,
just
go ahead.
like lucky enough to just make music,
Mhm.
like even if it's hard to do,
Yeah.
like even if the process is difficult, even if like you don't can't find the time to do it, how magical is it? Like we can, I'm privileged enough to be able to come home
Yeah.
and make music.
Yeah,
Like what's the complaint?
yeah,
What's the complaint?
Yeah. And it's important that, a lot of people though, especially when they work on art or anything like that, they're going, where's this going? But I think what it is you should always focus. It's just keep going one step forward, no matter
Yeah,
what you achieve musically, a show,
exactly.
a connection. It's just like that one step forward is a positive. It's not, and I think COVID, as you when you guys just developed it, was it just shut everything down. You know what I mean? And it doesn't shut down the creativity, but there's not a whole lot of moving too forward. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, where it's like
Mm.
you should always focus on whatever video you make, whatever song you create, whatever you put out, whatever gig you do. That's what makes it important to just keep going, keep moving
yeah,
one step
Yeah,
forward, no matter what.
and it almost it doesn't matter where we'll be in 5 years. It
Yeah,
only matters where we are now.
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Well, thank you guys so much. I really
Thank
appreciate your
you.
time. You guys have been great. I encourage everybody check out. I'll have it in the description. Your social media. streaming, Bandcamp. Focus on Bandcamp. I love Bandcamp because you guys
Yeah,
get the money.
same. It's
Yes.
great.
And yeah, just kind of keep an eye on their social media. Make sure you follow them, Instagram, Facebook. You guys do the TikTok thing or no?
We,
We
no, we
little bit,
do.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
know
We
it's hard for
try.
me to.
It's not.
I know.
I'm not
I'm
doing
the
any
same.
TikTok challenges though. I'm 45 next month.
I get that. It's, but yeah, so I encourage everybody follow them, check them out, guys. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
thank you.
you.
It's
Nice
been
to meet
lovely.
you.
No
Goodbye.
problem, you guys. Yep. Oh, let me